we go. On Outdoor Truckers, episode 10 of season 3. I love doing this channel. I love this job. I wish this was my full-time job. But I got work to do, so yeah, I gotta get me another job. What actually pays the bills. Oh, wrong thing. Just Outback Truckers. $3.10. I wish I had my own YouTube channel, but you know. Yeah, I should do that too. Okay, here we go.
What you want to do is save hundreds when Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance.
That's great, but can you ask your friend to stop digging into the green?
Need some lunch.
I can ask, but he's not going to.
I'll eat lunch early.
Only pay for what you need.
We're gonna do this session, this series of videos.
I'll stream for free.
I'll stop, upload the videos to YouTube, and that's it.
Now, what if your phone service worked the same way too? TextNow offers unlimited talking text plus essential data for free. How? Simple. Advertisers cover the costs, so you don't have to.
Outback Truckers. Cromwell is under heavy.
Okay, I gotta do two things real quick. That's it. I need to get myself a better job. Tired. Going to the zoo tomorrow? I'm going to library tomorrow, yeah. At 2-ish, yeah. Going to the zoo? Okay, you got what I need? Okay, so which one? The way last one. Who cares? They're cooked. They're done. 2 hot dogs, have a tea, and have water. That's it. Yeah, like I said, I'll do that. I want to make some money for you. I wish I could make some decent money on YouTube. But, these videos are just for fun anyways.
White pressure. South Australia, heavy haulage expert Mark Cromwell knows a thing or two about pressure.
0 and 0, that's how it works out. If you get there, you're hero. If you don't, and everyone's pointing the finger at you.
The 43-year-old specialises in hauling massive freight with massive price tags to places beyond the reach of most normal trucks. But over the next 48 hours, Mark faces a whole new level of pressure.
We are under a very strict timeline to get this in and out and off.
He's about to move a giant 48-ton electrical switch room
We build them, load them, deliver them.
across 2 states and through the heart of 2 of Australia's biggest cities.
Big load, it's got very sensitive stuff inside, so you don't want this thing bouncing on the truck.
The slightest problem moving it could ruin months of planning and cost tens of thousands of dollars. The $2 million building is needed to help run Melbourne's historic tram network.
If it goes right, it's, pat on the back. If it goes wrong, then they just drop a lot of shit.
It's a monumental challenge, even for the best.
If you start seeing me run, you know, thinking something's going wrong.
Starting in Adelaide, Mark's epic mission will take him through South Australia and Victoria on the 730-kilometre run into the heart of Melbourne. Before Mark can make the trip,
Go to the shoe shop. Get some new shoes.
he needs to be sure his truck's ready for the challenge. A new set of tyres will set him back a cool $8,000. With a tight schedule, he's keen to get the job done quickly.
They choose up all your load on. We're going to cross all the way back across town.
On a time-critical job, Mark can't afford any delays. The loading yard, where Mark's monster freight lies. The 48-ton electrical switch room has been built as 2 separate units.
This is basically one building, but we've had to split it up to get it to fit in to the site that it's going to.
Mark will move the 5-metre wide main building, while second driver Brad hauls the other. The drivers are ready to load, but in the second unit, there's a problem. An air conditioner is still being installed.
We've only had yesterday and today to fit it, and then you've got to rewire it, then commission it, make sure it all works.
While the race is on to install the aircon, Mark must grapple with his own headache. Getting the 34-ton main building onto his 48-wheel trailer.
Yeah, we've got to get under there nice and square. Truck drivers have OCD tendencies. If it's not square, it does your head in as you're driving down the road.
His main worry, the 8 hydraulic jacks supporting the switch room. Hit one of these, and millions of dollars and months of work could come crashing down. And the margin for error?
They're only about 3.6 metres apart and trying to sleep.
Okay, so well next
So
pick,
they're
yeah.
about 100 mil either side.
With just centimetres to spare, the massive job's barely started. One step down, and Mark and Brad will be finished.
Oh, yeah, straighten up now. You just don't want to hit the jack.
We're going to miss that, aren't we? What was that?
It's high summer in the wildlands of Australia's tropical northeast. Truckers who dare head up here face an ordeal of heat, dirt and dust.
This here, you've literally gone to hell on earth.
For the last 2 days, 47-year-old Turbo has been fighting a running battle in this land of trucking torment.
It's hot, it's rough, and my truck's falling to pieces.
He's just delivered $200,000 worth of mining vehicles.
That's now another customer happy. Another delivery well done.
Now, he faces a long, hard road home to Brisbane with an empty truck. And in this game, the bottom line is simple. No load means no money.
Every time that wheel doesn't turn, it costs a couple $1,000.
He's desperate to find a load out of the small, remote town of Weipa, to pay his $2,000 fuel bill home.
It's going to cost a fortune to run home empty.
But time's against him. Other trucking jobs are lined up at home. If Turbo's late back, he could lose them and thousands more dollars.
I've got 6 trailer loads from Brisbane to Melbourne. What I'm going to do.
Turbo's journey began in Gladstone, Queensland, heading up through the Cape York Peninsula to the port of Weipa on the tip of Australia's far north. To get here, Turbo's faced some of the most arid, chewed-up dirt highways in Australia, capable of reducing rigs to ruins.
Getting your load and your rig there in one piece really tests the driver.
Now he faces them all over again, with no load to soften the blow. But from out of nowhere comes good news.
Oh yeah, I got it,
Thank you, baby.
still got the touch.
He's landed a lucrative job. 2 large mobile huts bound for a mine 1,800 kilometres away. Each fragile hut is worth $100,000. They must survive some of the roughest roads in the country.
Go north.
But it's not just the dirt Turbo will have to contend with. This remote tropical frontier is just 1,400 kilometres from the equator.
Stinking hot. It's a wet heat, but you sweat here. That's right on the fence.
With temperatures 40 degrees,
Where?
the 130-kilo trucker must wrestle a 20-ton building onto his truck.
Happy with that, mate?
One hut's on. But suddenly, something's wrong. Turbo's in trouble.
My head's now spinning. I'm just about ready to pass out because of the heat.
In the brutal conditions, his body's overheating. He's at risk of getting heat stroke. Left untreated, it could be fatal.
I'm just trying to cool the body, get the body to regulate the temperature again and cool the temperature right off. And it's just,
If he can't cool down quickly, the only loading Turbo will be doing is into an ambulance.
Love you guys, but yeah, I'm just having fun doing this.
Belinda Reel is a natural-born trucker. She's tough. Loves her load and her rig. As a third-generation livestock trucker, Belinda knows there's no joking when it comes to the job. Unstable and unpredictable, livestock are one of the most dangerous loads a trucker can carry. Belinda's responsible for dozens of lives
Something's not right back there.
in a rig the weight of a tank. Keeping her truck steady is critical. Loaders are a constant threat.
I've got weight on the top, and it only takes that bit on top that can pull you. So it can end nasty.
Belinda's part of a rare breed.
It's gonna be hot.
In Australia, barely a handful of women haul livestock.
Making sure the pins are in and lines are all hooked up to go.
From the start, it's been a road to remember.
The first time I ever drove was quite scary, especially passing an oversight, and I just froze on the spot. It was like, what?
I need to set your thoughts
From
on
the
this.
small town of Springsure, Belinda's about to head through the rural heart of Queensland to the outskirts of Brisbane. She has just 12 hours to deliver 80 head of cattle to a market 800 kilometres away, on dirt, winding back roads, and down a mountain. It's a beast of a challenge, and with heavy rain forecast, one slip could cost Belinda her load
Bit of water around.
and her life. It's a dangerous time. If any of the 600-kilo plus animals get spooked, they could panic and charge, putting theirs and Belinda's life at
The
risk.
main thing that I track for her is her litter box behavior. You know, how frequently she's pooping. Can I say that?
Housing inside of that desert also lies sandy shores.
And watch my else.
So lies Sandy Shores, a small, rundown town. But unlike most rundown towns, this one still has residents and power, but currently is in a poor state of condition as is.
I live in Sandy Shores in
A
GTA.
quick drive through Sandy Shores lets you get a better look at the residents and their homes. This already gives us some clues about a time when Sandy Shores was sprawling with life and success. Just over Vinewood Hills lies the Grand Sonora Desert. Housed inside of that desert also lies Sandy Shores, a small, rundown town. But unlike most rundown towns, this one still has residents and power, but currently is in a poor state of condition as is.
I live in Sandy Shores.
A quick drive through Sandy Shores lets you get a better look at the residents and their homes. This already gives us some clues about a time when Sandy Shores was sprawling with life and success. Most of these homes are colorful: yellow, blue, red, pink, you name it, which was a common element of the American home design in the 1950s and 1960s. Full of color, usually one story, with no garage, as vehicles weren't nearly as common to see as they are now. Almost a one-to-one identical description of the typical Sandy Shores home. The buildings also tell us about the businesses that were here prior. You can see a mechanic shop, a barber shop, a tattoo shop, a medical center, and a sheriff's office. Some of these businesses are still operating, but judging by the exterior, these businesses are by no means prospering. And while there are some buildings that are still standing, most of the buildings in Sandy Shores are completely run down and abandoned, like the Sandy Shores Motel. This is likely due to the failing economy at the time. But why was the economy on the decline, you may ask? It could be the fact that a booming city just on the other side of the Vinewood Hills with promising job opportunities and infrastructure was on the rise, driving the workforce to move there to be closer to their jobs and families, as they likely moved there as well. Paleto Bay could have been in a similar situation in Sandy Shores as well, but powered through because of its major factory, the Cluckingbell factory, which required a larger workforce to operate, which likely gave them stable job security. Unfortunately, for Sandy Shores' case, they didn't have any stable job opportunities, unlike Paleto Bay. Most businesses in Sandy Shores were prone to tourism, which is almost always a bad thing, as the strength of the economy shifts from month to month. Nobody's visiting Sandy Shores in the winter. The lack of job stability could have also influenced the rise of drugs and arms smuggling that Sandy Shores is all too familiar with now. Not too many cops to deal with, and the ones there are to deal with are likely to cut a deal with smugglers to boost their own pay, to just put food on the table for their own families. Not to mention the outright lack of outside agencies present in Blaine County, as officials likely think that it is just an abandoned town that is too far gone to help anymore. So with all this in mind, why is Sandy Shores still a town? And why don't officials try to help Sandy Shores more? Well, the answer to that is very simple. They use the fact that it is run down with a very little population to their advantage. There is a prison just outside Sandy that is very hard to escape out of because of its location. If you try to make the daring escape to Los Santos, you will likely get seen by the many residents and be called in to your arrest. If you try to make the flee towards the desert in Sandy Shores, you will suffer from the blistering heat in the daytime and the shivering cold of the night. Not even mentioning the scarce amenities there are in Blaine County. It's not like there are many places to eat and drink in Sandy Shores, leaving the only viable option to escape to Paleto. However, it is just too far and risky to attempt. Despite most of Blaine County being abandoned or close to it, there are some parts that appear to be doing just fine, like Harmony. There is a small strip mall with a couple of businesses that also houses a Fleeca Bank branch. the only bank in all of Sandy Shores, which could be the reason why it is still standing. There is zero competition. Harmony also has a small motel, which, while not looking perfect, seems to be doing just fine. It looks like if there's any bit of tourist activity, or somebody just needing a place to stay for a little bit, Harmony could be the place to go instead of Sandy Shores. Now we must discuss the gangs of Sandy Shores. Well, first off, there is the one we are all too familiar with, Trevor Phillips Enterprises, and the O'Neill brothers, which live not too far out of town in a town called Grapeseed. And then there's the Lost Motorcycle Club, which has a headquarters just outside of Sandy Shores in a small trailer park called Stab City. However, like previously mentioned earlier, there is a sheriff's office located in the middle of Sandy Shores. Unfortunately, like also mentioned earlier, the sheriff's office is fairly small, and the workforce of that sheriff's office is also very small, making them very prone to being paid off or just outright being killed. It seems like from the looks of it, there's not enough enforcement going on in Sandy Shores, but no one bothers to enforce it because it's already too far gone, or they're benefiting from it. And not just crackhead hillbillies are benefiting from it. Think about it. There is a military base not too far away, a prison like previously mentioned, and the Humane Labs, which seems to conduct experiments not really shown to the FIB or the IAA. It seems like the officials are even taking advantage of Sandy Shores' desolate state. All of this makes Sandy Shores feel like such a creepy place to me. It's always been strange how there's almost no lighting, and the lighting that there is dim. Not to mention the tallest mountain in the game, Mount Chiliad, reigning supreme over the town of Sandy Shores and its residents. So with all this in mind, we can now enter the question, was Sandy Shores always abandoned? No, it wasn't. It was likely a decently popular town in the 1950s or 60s, but due to better job opportunities located elsewhere, was left in a poor state that nobody cared to fix, as both state officials and criminals benefited from its demise, using it for both of their operations, and that is unlikely to change anytime soon. Just north of Mount Chiliad lies the town of Paleto Bay. It's a relatively small town, but unlike its next-door neighbor, Sandy Shores, Paleto seems to be doing just fine. But how? Paleto Bay is smaller than Sandy and further south. Well, as explained in the Sandy Shores video, Paleto Bay has a major factory, the Clucking Bell factory, which most of the residents probably work at. There are also numerous shops in the small town of Paleto, including a barber shop, a tattoo shop, a mechanic shop, and a gun store. Also, there seem to have been plans to build a car dealership next to the mechanic shop, but it was never completed. We know this was fully intentional by Rockstar, as it says on the billboard that it was supposed to come in 2008, but the game at the time of release took place in 2013. So why was this dealership never completed? Well, here is where we get into the many problems of Paleto Bay. It seems that the city planners of Paleto Bay didn't distribute business space and living space evenly. Lots of buildings in Paleto Bay are businesses, which is fine if you have the workforce to accommodate them, but Paleto just doesn't have that many homes to accommodate a growing population. There are 36 houses in Paleto Bay, some of which could barely be called as such due to the condition of them. Also, some of these houses are for sale, meaning that there are likely not any residents living inside of them currently. There clearly isn't enough homes to accommodate the people that would be working in these businesses. This essentially means that Paleto Bay has to rely on workers who live out of town to make the trip all the way north every day, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it is not great either. This makes workers at the mercy of the weather, as if the weather is harsh, the workers likely will not show up or be late. This whole catastrophe of a situation is only occurring, however, because of poor city planning. The dealership that clearly isn't being finished should be turned into affordable apartments to allow for more residents. There is a small apartment complex located in Paleto Bay, but it maybe has a dozen rooms, not very much for a sprawling population. And the condition of these apartments are clearly not very good. There's not even water in the pool. Also, the plot of land that the dealership would be on is quite big, so it should be able to accommodate this just fine. We can already gather from this information that Paleto Bay already has essential problems that should have been changed a long time ago, or should never have been there to begin with. So what should Paleto Bay city officials done from the start? They should have played the tourism card much harder than they did. They have an advantage over Sandy as they also tried to do this, but over time, just deteriorated and laid to waste. Paleto is right next to the ocean. Hotels should have been built, at least 2 or more. Development also should have went into the coastal side of town because as of now, there are not that many buildings on the coast. There are maybe a couple, and all of these buildings are in questionable conditions. Then there is the Paleto Forest, which is actually quite a beautiful place. There should have been more effort into advertising its national park and the Chilliwack Wilderness. And then after people take a visit there, maybe after taking a long hike, they could settle down for the night at a hotel in Paleto. They wouldn't go to Sandy, as Sandy is just a bit too far out of town from the Chilliwack Wilderness. Paleto Bay just makes more sense, and it has a nicer view. Local officials also should have marketed Mount Chilliwack as part of the local lore as being the tallest mountain in the state of San Andreas, and try to encourage people to hike up it as well, with maybe some rewards. I also somewhat believe that the Cluckingbell factory hurt Paleto indirectly, as it made it less visually appealing. Just imagine that you are on vacation somewhere at a remote northern town that is relatively small, and see a big factory towering over the area. It just wouldn't look nice. And while there is also a small motel that is actually not that bad looking, with a very craftsman aesthetic to it just outside of Paleto, the infrastructure is just not there to support such a tourism-reliant business. So why don't city officials try to repair Paleto Bay's damaged image? Well, here's where we get into the illicit side of Paleto Bay. As previously mentioned, the Cluckingbell factory hurt Paleto's image as a small tourism town, as any major factory would. But why was it made in the first place? Well, we now know that a local cartel utilizes the Cluckingbell factory's image and location to smuggle drugs across San Andreas. It is unclear how long this operation has been going on, but we know that it is indeed here. And unfortunately,
11 o'clock already?
this
Wow,
cartel
time flies
also
when you're doing
likely
nothing.
has deep ties with local city officials to keep the factory up, as if it was demolished, there would be no cover for the cartel's smuggling work. It also helps the cartel that Paleto is very far from everything. Sandy Shores is already far from the city, and this is referenced many times in the game. After the mission Friends reunited, Trevor takes a trip up to the Vinewood Hills, and Wade comments on how that's very far, and how he has a cousin living there. But he talks about Los Santos as if it's such a far away place. Paleto is very far from everything, allowing for more underground operations to take place, as federal officials are unlikely to investigate and monitor such a small, faraway town. This is highly likely to be the reason that Paleto is in the state that it is in currently. A similar situation to Sandy, only with more proof. If Paleto were to grow more and more, the population would rise and start to become less of a small town and more of a medium-sized tourist destination. This would lead city officials to monitor it more and just keep track of it more as a whole. So hopefully, as time passes and Vincent's investigation progresses, we may see the downfall of this cartel and the potential rise of Paleto Bay. Hopefully Vincent can work his way up the ladder to a higher agency like the FIB and crack down on the cartel and their operation. But only time will tell. Paleto Bay is a very strange place overall. It is one of the only places in the game that you can go to in a fully populated lobby and barely see anyone there because of its location, which basically sums up Paleto Bay as a whole, which is also precisely the reason why I enjoy being in Paleto Bay, its desolation. I just wish there were more things to do in Paleto. There are many available businesses here, but no one, including myself, ever buys them because it is just too far away to use efficiently as a business. For something leisurely, then sure, fine. But for something that you have to go to every time you log on to GTA Online, it's just inconvenient. I think for a final update, or an update very near the end of GTA Online's lifespan, Paleto Bay should get a small makeover, with a coastal hotel, similar to a hotel you'd see in Miami on the beach. Rockstar could also use this opportunity to add fishing to the game, as Paleto is obviously equipped for it with its location. I do know that Red Dead Redemption 2 has a fishing mechanic, and it's pretty good. I, however, don't know how easy it would be to port over to GTA Online, but maybe Rockstar could make something like it. Also similar to Red Dead, they could maybe also add horses to the game, as strangely enough, there are horse crossing signs scattered around Wayne County. Sometimes you see them in different places, but they are indeed there, which kind of maybe leads me to believe that horses were meant to be in the game since day one. We obviously know that Rockstar is not a person to skimp out on cutting content, so we may never know, but it is definitely not too late to add horses. So next time you're in Paleto Bay, enjoy it a little bit, explore its environment, and learn more about the desolate town and its people. And hopefully, Rockstar starts to appreciate it a little bit more as well. And with that being said, thank you all for watching this video so much. I really do appreciate it. And
A toast to Tina's new business.
That was a hobby.
Essential oils are my thing.
Grand Theft Auto 4 probably has one of the most sophisticated public transport networks of any GTA game. And since Liberty City is based off of New York City, it has an absolutely immense subway network compared to any other GTA game. And so before getting into the subway, we of course need to find out the thing that can make or break a system no matter how good or bad it is. The operator. The operator public transport in Liberty City is known as LTA, otherwise known as Liberty Transport Authority. They operate multiple forms of transportation,
CTA.
from buses to the Roosevelt Island Tramway replica, and of course the subway, which is our focus for today. The headquarters of the operator, LTE, are LTE. The LTA's headquarters are located in downtown Broker. The building is pretty typical and isn't anything special, but it does have subway tracks nearby. Now, compared to other GTA games, this game has quite the detail when it comes to public transport because it is based off New York City after all. And so it has a lot of details such as signage and very advanced fare machines. So let's take a look at them. We can see that the bus shelters have quite a bit of effort put into them, having the signs around light poles and LTA engravement along the windows. The ticket machines have quite a lot of effort put into them as well, and they look very similar to the Metro card dispensers at stations you see in New York City, and it also has a pretty accurate Metro card replica. It even has that corner taken off. How about we take a ride on the subway and I'll show you the cool stuff along the way. First off, we can see that Rockstar actually puts effort into replicating the actual environment. What do I mean by that? Well, currently we're at Frankfurt High Station, which happens to be the location of an actual station in New York City. Located on the north side of Algonquin, otherwise known as Manhattan in real life, it connects Algonquin and Bohan. And now, looking at the real-life New York City subway map, you see the 125th Street station, located at around the same exact area in Manhattan, which is the Algonquin counterpart. And okay, yeah, big deal. Two stations in a similar place in Manhattan. That's pretty common since it's a big city. There are stations everywhere. Well, if we play it back, there's something even more striking and fascinating that shows the amount of effort Rockstar put into recreating the iconic subway system. Remember that we are in North Algonquin, which in real life would be known as Harlem, or colloquially, North Manhattan. And now it's very interesting that when you look up at the station, in the same place in the same district in the real-life city of New York, there's an identical-looking station called Harlem 125th Street, serving the 1 train. Now, in GTA games, of course, you have a lot of replicas of famous places, but it's very cool to see it extend all the way to a subway system, something you typically don't see, as typically the most famous places are replicated. But it's really cool to see that the most impressive subway stations have been brought into the GTA 4 game. While Nico tries to find his way into the vestibule, let's take a look at the map. The train map of GTA 4 is somewhat resemblant to New York, although it does lack the perpendicular crosstown lines of Manhattan. You can see that they did put some effort into recreating the lettered and number systems of New York, although using different shapes. Interestingly as well, they did a pretty good job at recreating Manhattan with the various parallel subway lines going north and south. What confuses me, however, are some of the numbered and letter lines having the same color. The 3 train, for example, is red and square and it goes around Broker, but then in Algonquin it's a J train, which is also red, and it's a different or same route. It's all very confusing. The grayed out station is Dukes Boulevard, which is a station closed for maintenance, possibly a comedic reference to how the MTA always does maintenance on some kind of line or station, causing detours. The train also goes out to Francis International Station, the equivalent of JFK, although in real-life New York City, the subway does not go to JFK Station, although there is an air train connection to the subway. Personally speaking, I would have really liked it if they added some kind of airport train because it makes it a lot more unique. But I'm treating it a bit too harshly. This is not a subway simulator like OpenBBE or Train Sim World. This is a free-roam GTA game, and so the subway is extremely impressive, considering the game's purpose. Let's check out the system.
I need money, not food, money!
An interesting thing of note on why the game is so detailed when it comes to New York City is that Rockstar has been located in New York City since 1998. Coming up to the vestibule, we see the classic New York City turnstile, but with a different door, instead of the typical three-arm variant that New York City uses. The trains are tagged up, as if it was New York City in the 80s, which is a really interesting touch. And then, of course, you have Rockstar's comedy kicking in, with garbage all over the train. The above-ground Harlem lines are pretty accurate to its real-life counterpart, and the surrounding buildings and their height and style really make you feel like you're actually in Harlem. And as you enter the tunnel, you can see that the tunnels take on the appearance of a cut-and-cover style tunnel, with a rectangular cavity, very accurate to how a lot of the New York City subway was built. Over here we see some interlockings and interlining, which is a very common feature in the New York City subway. A lot more common than in many other cities across the world. By the way, I don't literally mean physical interlockings, but on how many of the lines are shared. And over here we are entering the North Park station at a blistering pace. This station kind of reminds me of a mixture between 168th Street in Washington Heights and Chambers Street. Let me know if you agree. I think that's a pretty interesting comparison, but it seems about right. How about we look around and just soak up the atmosphere a bit, get a little feel for the area. There are ads above the trains in the open shaft, which is something that you typically don't see, and the tiling reminds me of the 7th Avenue stations in New York City, so it's kind of a mix of all, but it's really interesting and cool to see how Rockstar uses their creativity to make the game space work. Up here, we see the vestibule, and unfortunately Rockstar missed out on the chance of having, like, Fairvaders spawn everywhere and jump over the gates, but nonetheless, it's still a well-done area, and I like the view from the gate. This station is in what could be considered a pretty prominent area in the real-life counterpart of the Eber-Us side. What? Now, the conventional station exit is a very accurate replica of its real-life counterparts in New York City. And as you see, it has the ads and the stairs and the tile work, all done immaculately. I also like the touch of the rafters and lights. That really adds the New York touch. Exiting, the exit does have that IRTBNTIND fence look with a lamp on top, which is extremely accurate and basically one-to-one. The Rockstar devs at New York, of course, did a great job because that's where they live. Anyways, now we're looking onto Central Park, which is, of course, the biggest park in New York City and one of the most filmed places on Earth. As we go back down to the train, let's discuss more about the actual train itself. The wagons in GTA 4 are based off of an NYCT R38 subway car, built by the St. Louis Car Company. Built from 1966 to 1967, in St. Louis, of course, over 200 units were built. What makes this extra cool is the fact that right as the game was released, the NYCT was scrapping the R38s and taking them out of service. So this game was released just as you weren't able to experience R38s in real life. So it does make this game historical in a sense. Up ahead, you can also see that you can acquire a first aid kit from the station. You can also get a pump shotgun, but we don't talk about that. Anyways, around the station, you do have some trash littered, of course, for comedic effect. And you have quite a lot of business people, this being the Upper East Side, also near Midtown, where a lot of prominent business people commute. And there's also a guy walking on the tracks. Oh, I think he got hit. Okay, that was not good. That doesn't happen every day. It's pretty nice here in Liberty City. Oh, look at me jumping for excitement, ready to get into the car. This is how I always feel. Sorry, sir. Oh. And I can only imagine what this car smells like. And it looks like I'm wanted for bumping into that guy, but it looks like we're making a swift escape on the subway. And whoa, there's a guy on the tracks right there. Anyways, hopefully there's not a situation where I get attacked by homeless people like what happened in Los Santos. A detail I did notice while editing this video is that there are no third rails or wire systems to power the trains. The trains just seem to be battery operated or magically running using magic carpets or something like that. But nonetheless, it's a very, very picky idea, very picky observation by me. But anyways, going into the East Park Station, a lot of the stations in this Manhattan area are of the same design. So that 125th Street / Frankfurt High Station was a monument station that they specially modeled, but it's still amazing to see. There's so much to cover but so little time, but I tried to get every important thing I could in this short time frame. But anyways, if you do like the video, make sure to comment because I read all of your comments, and I mean that. And I'm the Transit Diaries, and as always, stay tuned for more. You're trying to get around Los Santos, but you don't have a car because that job at the Davis Mega Mall doesn't pay well. You can't even use the courier bike off duty, so the only option you have left is Los Santos Transit. Los Santos, the main city in Grand Theft Auto 5, has two main modes of public transport, the train and the bus. There's also a roadway, but we'll be talking about that one later. First, we'll overview the bus system. The official name used by Los Santos Transit's bus network is the Bullet, as to match the city's crime rate. The bus network is quite dense in the city area, and even has some buses that go as far as the scenic Paleto Bay community. But like any other transport network in America, the size of it can be deceptive, as you'll probably have to wait a very long time to get the bus. And of course, to get to your destination, you actually need to sit inside the bus. So let's see what whip you get. You have this 12-meter bus that has a standard paint scheme, but with different colors. The white base remains consistent with 4 varying colors: blue, red, orange, and teal. But the teal one is quite special. The teal buses serve the Los Santos International Airport, and as you can see, the indicator is different. All buses have a downtown indicator on them, but only the airport buses have an LSIA indicator. An interesting thing, though, is that all the normal routes consistently have downtown indicators, no matter if they're going out of town or into town. Looking at the tank on the top, this bus appears to be powered by compressed natural gas. Despite its length, buses have 2 doors due to the amount of people getting on and off stations, and it seems to be like a bus from the 90s or early 2000s. Quite an interesting look. And interestingly, there aren't ads pasted all over the outsides of the buses. Looking at the underside, it's quite sturdy, with 6 wheels and 2 axles. But despite this, according to GameStats, it can only still fit 16 American-sized people, so not that much. It has a typical North American bus interior, and the driver's cap, it comes with a wheel, and the view is nice. Enough about that, though. Let's talk about First, let's start with the train itself. Referred to as the Aero by Los Santos Transit, it resembles a Siemens P2000 railcar, which is used by LA Metro. As such, we can apply the real-life stats of the P2000 to the GTA version, having a top speed of 70 miles per hour and an acceleration of 3 miles per hour a second and a deceleration of 3.5 miles per hour per second. Pretty good stats. Let's go for a ride and check out the system. Here we are at the end of the line, the Los Santos International Airport Station. While we make our way there, we can really appreciate the sense of humor the devs have, integrating voice lines like, "Please do not urinate in the station," "Please do not urinate on fellow passengers," and "Please report any homeless people to a police officer." And currently, the Los Santos Transit Authority is actually working on a $16 billion streetcar project which will close down many streets and then reopen with good public transport, bringing vehicle traffic up to 3 miles per hour. This is according to Weasel News, by the way. Weasel News also told you guys to like and subscribe and to join my Discord if you like this video. It's a railway community of people just like you, and the link is in the description below. Entering the station, we can sort of see a mid-2000s design. It resembles a lot of airports in the United States. As you can see, the station also contains the obligatory wet floor signs and some poster artwork, which is typical in a lot of LA stations. Sorry, I mean Los Santos. According to GTA, not many people actually ride the Arrow, so the people that do aren't really the best crowd. And if it gets crowded, there's even an announcement that says, a crowded train is not an excuse for inappropriate touching, no matter how tempting. Here, the turnstiles look very fair-hoppable, as you can see a massive gap between the arms and the edge. Ironically, the ticket purchasing area is past the turnstiles, so I think they might need to redesign that a little. The concourses in the station are long and the walk is time-consuming, so while we do that, let me tell you more about the system map. The transit system has quite a redundant design, with a loop going around it. Very, very interesting. You don't see this in a lot of systems. This means that if I wanted to go to Pillbox South from Puerto del Sol station, I would have to go through Strawberry, Pillbox North, Burton, Portola, Del Fierro, Puerto del Sol, and then all the way to Pillbox South. Very